Peace, peace, family. I go by BW, and this is Succulent Oracle, brought to you by Awakened Hearts Healing. So this week I have for you a Love Oracle Weekly, low, and so this is for my Aquarius, my Geminis, and my Libras, and we're going from December 4th until the 10th, and this is just like a weekly assessment of your current love situation. If you're single or dating, I might be able to tap into some of that energy as well, but we'll take a look and see. Don't try and make anything fit that doesn't, only take what resonates. And I already prayed and cleansed the cards, so we're just like ready to get into this. Okay, so we're going to be taking a look today at your head, heart, situation, as well as your 5D. And so 5D is going to be if your higher self could speak to you, or even if another timeline version, was giving you some sort of insight to this week, what would that look like? And so we'll be getting that as well as an obstacle. And I will be letting you know that for the connection section, which will also be going over the head, heart, 5D, we won't do the obstacle, as well as for your person. When we do their head, heart, and 5D, we'll leave out the obstacle. And if you're interested in that, you could go ahead and book a personal reading with me. And so that could be done just by my email. You could go ahead and book one. And so, yeah, I look forward to that. Otherwise, I'm ready to get into this reading. Okay, so this is for our Aquarius, Geminis, and Libras from December 4th until the 10th. And one card wanted to pop out. Just gonna spread them all out. Perfect. Okay, so what is this week's energy for our air signs? And we have our head. Okay, so our current head space in regards to this connection is third party and gossip. I'll be grabbing some clarifying messages. These first few decks are just handmade decks made by myself. Okay, and grabbing our heart space for our air signs this week. Soul tribe, connections, contracts, and soul path. Beautiful. And our 5D energy. Love lost. And our blockage for our air signs. Hidden purpose, the end of the beginning wisdom. I don't know why I got so excited about the beginning. Okay, we'll grab some clarifying messages. So yeah, that's just another one of my decks. I'm clarifying these messages for our air signs. Okay, so what clarifying message do we have for our headspace for air signs for this week? Wait, things are pending in regards to third party and gossip. Clarifying. Okay, clarifying the heart space for our air signs this week, which was soul tribe, connections, contracts, and soul path. Get out in nature. Okay. It's been showing up quite a bit this week, I will say. And clarifying our 5D energy for our air signs. Ask your guides. And to clarify hidden purpose, I'm going to be using Doreen Virtue's Mermaids and Dolphins Oracle deck. Okay, so please clarify hidden purpose, the end, the beginning, wisdom for our air signs this week, December 4th to December 10th. Please clarify hidden purpose. Not quite a few. 2 cards. We'll take them both. So we have Healing Heart. You're a powerful healer. Keep up the great work. To clarify hidden purpose, the end, the beginning, and wisdom, as well as self-forgiveness. Let go of old guilt and remember that you're God's perfect child. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, so in regards to the headspace, let's start back up here. We have third party and gossip. As clarifying that, we have wait, things are pending. And so I just feel like you might have what other people are saying, maybe about your relationship or about your person even. But maybe it's family, maybe it's your close friends. So it might be something, or something might come up this week where it is kind of on your brain. And so with wait, things are pending. Maybe you're not too sure even how to go about approaching this, maybe confronting the person or even your partner, or just, if there is an actual truth to what's being said and you're wanting to address the issue at hand. There is this feeling or sense that now isn't necessarily the time. And I feel like that might be something that isn't necessarily wrong. Sorry, I was just thinking about Mercury and it's like shadow phase. And so I'm just like, maybe certain conversations right now, or I don't know. So either way, you are possibly feeling like we're just gonna hold off on that a little bit. And so trust that instinct if that's necessarily what you're feeling. Maybe this is something that will blow over. Maybe this is something that when you do decide to bring it up, there's a clear picture of what you're dealing with. And so, I say if you feel like now isn't necessarily the time to have these conversations, to just go with that. With your heart space, you have soul tribes. It's about the connections, contracts, and soul path. And so whether this is, these people as far as your tribe, the people that maybe you're taking into consideration so deeply what they're saying, or this is the actual connection with your person at hand. I just feel like that's kind of what's on your heart, is these deep connections for you. With it being clarified with get out in nature, as I said, it's been a card that's kind of been showing up. And as much as sometimes, yes, I've been reading it as a get out in nature energy, like physically, moving your body, going for walks, spending time with fur babies. I've also been picking up on energy as far as breaking away from routine or doing things a little bit differently than you would. And so that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to look like something where you're getting out in nature, but that sense where you are kind of slowing down and having time or space for mindfulness. I think if you have the ability to enjoy and be present in nature, there's always so many messages you're able to receive. And so whether this heart, tribe situation is also relating to your headspace, or you are just feeling like you need some time with things pending in your headspace, and you're wanting to either spend time with good people or just focus on the path and other connections at hand. Getting out and breaking out from your routine is a great way to like refresh and reset your energy. With the 5D being love lost, and ask your guides. Interesting. So there's a few cards that when I created, they kind of have like dual meaning. So I have to like take a moment to like think like, which side of this spectrum is this? And it's not to say that it can't be both. If you are cross-watching and your person is an air sign, you know, this section might be somewhat reversed, as this is kind of like a viewer and position, and the other part is like your person. So whether you're an air sign or not, if you're the viewer, maybe you do resonate. But also things are always mirrored and just like take as they resonate, you know? So, but either way, this card, love lost, the understanding is, you know, sometimes love is lost in a relationship, and that is reality. Sometimes we outgrow, or certain fundamental or foundational elements are missing or damaged, and you know, you can't repair it, or it's not worth repair. So, you know, love is lost, we move on. Or the other meaning of this, which is like the complete other spectrum, is when you're just so in love with someone, and it's just like when you're lost in the sauce, you know? And it's just like you're love lost. Like you're just like, you're so caught up in whatever this relationship is. And so either way, however you're feeling, this resonates. With it being clarified by ask your guides, both situations, I would say, you know, spend some time with your altar. You know, if you feel like it's a lot of energy coming from your inner circle or your tribe, or, you know, with that third party and gossip and soul tribe being present in those other spaces, you know, really rely on your actual spiritual team. If you have people that you'd consider like your mentors, or like people that you really trust, who have like maybe no biased opinions. But ultimately, I feel like this can be handled within yourself, whether that's journaling, whether that's praying, whether you read cards or do something of your own that, you know, you feel ties you to your intuition, and just relying on that, because ultimately, even with weight, things are pending. Like you do have this sense of knowing. And so, yeah, it's very interesting that your blockage here is hidden purpose, which is about the end, the beginning, and the wisdom. And so, actually, I'm getting the messages. And so maybe this is a situation where, you know, certain things need to end. You were able to gain what you needed, whether this is your partnership at hand or the people around you, and influencing your relationship. There is this sense of like, you know, like I really got what I needed to get from this, or feeling some sense of completion or conclusion. And this could be within yourself, because this is the personal side as the viewer. And like, we do have to understand that like we are individuals as much as we wait, you know, to make up these unions. And oftentimes, if you know, in these, especially in these spiritual relationships, there's a mirroring happening. So the deeper and the more we understand what we're going through and where we're at, the easier, not easier, but like it helps and aids in us understanding our person when we have that level of self-awareness. And so, yeah, I just feel like, yeah, it's clarified. And like, mind you, this clarification is more of an advice, if you will. And so if you would like to book a personal reading, we will go so into this. We can even get tarot if you want. But as far as the advice that this has to offer for hidden purpose in this week, it says self-forgiveness, let go of old guilt, and remember that you're God's perfect child. And healing heart, you are a powerful healer. Keep up the great work. And so both of these cards just speak to a space. I feel like once we're in Sag season, it's different times from Scorpio, and often we're going through this cycle of a death, rebirth, and Sag tends to offer that like phoenix rising from the ashes energy as far as like really initiating and sparking some passion. And so whether you are coming out of a period where you're really closing some things out and recognizing some past wounding, there is a reminder to help you, maybe not only move on or help you release and grieve this end, but really celebrate this beginning and just understand all you were able to take from it by, being able to offer yourself the forgiveness of, whatever guilt you're feeling involving where your heart space is at, where your head space is at this week. And so yeah, I think that with Healing Heart, just knowing that this time might have just been necessary, and like knowing that you being able to heal and work through this time is all just part of your journey. Okay, so we are going to take a look at now the connection. So we're going to look at the headspace of the connection. So kind of where you and your partner mutually are at in the headspace, the heart space where you and your partner are mutually at in the heart space, and then we'll go into the 5D. And the 5D is kind of like, if you will, maybe a different timeline. A lot of these deep soul connections, we have been with these people in previous lifetimes. And so what those energies have to offer us this week, whether that's that previous connection or even just another timeline, of our connection showing up and being like, hey, this energy needs to be aware of this for this week. Or even, that's kind of just, but as I said, we will be leaving the blockage for both the connection as well as your person for personal readings, as well as just doing a full deep dive of that. So either way, let's get into this. So let's look at the connection for our Aquarius, our Geminis, and our Libras for the week of December 4th to 10th. What is our energy for our air signs connection? All right, so the energy for the headspace of our connection this week for our air signs. All right, so the connection has faded interactions, communication, union, and collaboration. In the headspace, the heart space for our air signs connection this week is time to reevaluate. Okay, and the 5D for this connection for our air signs this week. Hey! Starbud, enlightenment, soul growth, higher consciousness. Okay, let's clarify these messages. All right, clarifying these messages for our air signs, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libras for this week, December 4th to the 10th. Please clarify the air signs connection for this week. What is our air signs clarification for the headspace with faded interactions? We have heart chakra. I always love when different chakras show up for like when the head space is like different than the third eye, or even when the head space is the third eye, but you know what I mean? Like I love when they like align, or either way. Going into our heart space. for air signs connection this week. Present versus potential. And our 5D energy for this connection for our air signs this week. Root chakra. Okay. Getting some messages already. Okay, so starting with the headspace, fated interactions, communication, union, and collaboration, and was clarified by the heart chakra. And so I feel like on the brain mutually of this connection is having some level of communication about this connection. With heart chakra clarifying it, I just feel like these are some deep conversations, or really deeply rooted, because they are dealing with the matters of the heart. Yeah, I don't necessarily get, I'm not saying it's like a bad energy, it's necessary, but when I look at the time to reevaluate, I'm like, so that was something my eye was being drawn to, is the heart space, but we're going to stick with the head space right now. I will say with the union and collaboration, yeah, I just feel like the headspace is on some level of communication about this connection mutually. Yeah, we'll move to the heart space. The heart space is time to reevaluate, clarified by present versus potential. And I feel like I've seen this card also a few times this week for the other elements. And so time to reevaluate, there is some level of questioning or wanting to rework or revisit certain things maybe. And so it being clarified by the present versus potential, this card I created because sometimes we have this sense of rose-colored glasses, and we'll just want to see the best is best in people. And so we have the ability to kind of bypass some red flags, or just really ignore certain things because we want to see the good in people, or we want to believe that things could change, or, there's certain reasons. But like either way, we're not always taking things for face value. Sometimes we're like, well, they could be, or sometimes they're even telling us like, oh, well, I'm going to do. And so either way, we get caught up in the could've and maybes, and we're not solid in what's present and what's in our, like, what they're showing us. And so the heart maybe is getting tired of this and wants some level of change this week in regards to this, is an energy that I'm feeling. And the brain is like, let's talk about it because the heart's not happy. That's the vibe that I'm getting. With the 5D being Starbud, which is about enlightenment, soul growth, and higher consciousness, I just feel like there's like some level of like recognition or acknowledgement that, you've maybe outgrown this connection, or it's time to kind of ascend or take this higher, not necessarily with this person, but like what you're looking for, what you're doing within connection with people. It's clarified by root chakra. And so the energy that I'm getting from this is just like the foundations, like you've outgrown them. Root chakra is about like our basic needs, our security, those really pillar, the things that are at the foundation in order for you to really build something secure and sturdy. And so I just feel like whether there's lack within this connection that you've outgrown, or just the actual like fundamental basics of what this relationship stood on, I'm even hearing like maybe at the beginning of this or early in this, you guys had like this common interest. So it was just like, wow, this common interest, and maybe one of you just outgrew it. And so you're just like, oh man, like this really pillar thing of our connection is just now fallen apart, or it no longer exists in the way that we knew it to. And so, yeah, there's just like some level of like recognizing that within this connection. And so let's take a look at your person. And once again, we're just going to do their head, heart, and 5D. Okay. So what is the energies that we have for air signs air signs person for this week, December 4th to the 10th, for our Aquarius, Geminis, and Libras? What messages do we have? It's coming out. Alrighty. What is the energy that we have for our air signs person this week in their headspace? Focus on healing yourself. Okay, what about air signs person's heart space this week? The mission, truth, integrity, intention. And what about air signs person's 5D energy for this week? Soul tribe. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to clarify. I was getting some messages, but I want to clarify first. Okay. Please clarify these messages for December 4th to the 10th for our air signs person. Please clarify. Focus on healing yourself for your person's headspace. New beginnings. Please clarify air signs person's heart space, the mission, truth, integrity, and intention. Clarified by get out in nature. So I believe you also had this for your heart space. Please clarify soul tribe for your person's air signs person's 5D for this week. Solar plexus. Okay. So your person's headspace is focus on healing yourself. And, you know, maybe they are really focusing on the healing. There also might just be a focus on, like, they're just kind of doing their own thing. You don't know if they're healing or what they're doing, but, like, they're focusing on themselves. They're kind of isolated at this point. With it being clarified by new beginnings, I do feel like they are possibly even, like, preparing for whatever. With it being their headspace, you know, that might be their priority right now. Whether this is something, like, material or they do have some level of clarity that they've reached as far as, you know, as I said, coming out of Scorpio season, a lot of people will come to their own realizations, whether they understand themselves to be on a spiritual journey or not. Sometimes it's just the timing of things for people, and certain cycles have to end, new beginnings. And so I feel like this person might be going through this themselves. And so on their heart, in their heart space, they might be focusing on what that is, like, what is their truth, like, who are they, like, very deep questions, like what is their intention, and like what speaks to them as far as like what does it mean to be like authentic and integral in whatever maybe their endeavors are, or even just like who they are. Like these are like the questions that they're like having come up, or like the things that are showing up for them this week. And so they might with get out in nature, I'm just getting this ISO energy, so I just feel like who knows if they're out in nature. I just feel like off the grid, off the radar. But yeah, so I do feel like there is this like space of maybe they're also looking to break routine, and kind of just break cycle to reset, refresh. Like they're just trying to really figure things out as they're processing through some of these deep emotions. And with the soul tribe and the 5D connections, contracts, and soul path, I feel like this is definitely being highlighted for both you and this person this week. You know, whether these connections and this soul tribe is like your friends and your family, and these past life contracts and things that we've signed with people, these really deep-seated connections that we have with other people kind of showing up. I do feel like with this being clarified by the solar plexus, this is about confidence and like the ability to manifest and to create a person's like will through their understanding of like their own frequency. And so I just feel like there is this space of this person maybe going through questioning, themselves on a personal level, yet alone. Or so not just, in regards or an aspect to this relationship, but just questioning things. Initially I was like, oh man, like everyone seems like they're like the connection section, so I really seem to be in alignment of being like, man, things need to be reevaluated, like I don't really know, things may be changed. And so I just feel like it's happening definitely for your person this week. And with solar plexus here, this is maybe a time where maybe they're not feeling their best self. And so maybe they are even relying more on friends or family to kind of help give them that boost or get them through this time. And so, maybe with the third party stuff showing up earlier in this spread for you this week, maybe that's even a cause to where that's coming from, or the timing of things. But that was something that was prevalent as far as factors or things that were just like affecting, it was the soul tribe energy or this third party gossip energy, where it is these outside or other connections, contracts that we have in regards to our path. And so yeah, I do feel like all of that's at hand this week. And so if you want to look at a little bit more, you could go ahead. We could book a personal reading, and you could just email me and we could set that up. I do them via video calling. And so yeah, I look forward to doing that if that's something you're interested in. We'll take a nice little deep dive, and I'll get some tarot out if you would like, or we could just stick with the oracle, whatever you'd prefer. But I would love to do that. So if that's your vibe, look forward to seeing you. Otherwise, peace and love. I'll see you in our next video.